Okay, welcome to the official podcast of No Name. We have no name for this podcast. See, this thing was honestly, this idea
Very spontaneous.
was very spontaneous, and at least to me, I don't think it was that spontaneous for Gamer. This is Gamer. Hello, Gamer.
Hi, gamer. Oh,
Gamer here. This is her idea originally. Her and her friend, or our friend Zoe, they were thinking about doing a podcast. And see, we did a podcast once before, right? With our homie Colors. He had this he used to have this podcast called The Instance. We kind of tanked that shit. He basically told us that he can't use any of the footage, so that podcast never came to light. And then the Instance podcast got deleted. So that's where we're at. But yeah, so Gamer had this podcast idea that we do it and we do it right. We don't usually our videos are kind of like us inting and just like throwing ourselves at walls and screeching all the time. But like this is kind of like a get to know us on a real level type of meal, right? Right, Gamer?
Yeah.
All right,
gamer,
so
gamer, wait, time out. Wait.
I need
Okay,
more
Gamer,
enthusiasm.
we need to just say, we need to get some more energy in there, Gamer. Like, yeah, like at least fake it. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
this is
Fake
her,
it till we make it.
this was her fucking idea.
It's
this
okay,
is really
it's okay.
her
All
fucking
right.
idea.
How
Sorry,
does
sorry.
he get to curse on TikTok, but then I get banned every time I fucking
All
say
right, but back
like
to our
shit.
scheduled program.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Back to listen. Don't mind him. Back to our scheduled program. We actually have some ideas for names, which thanks to the lovely Gamer. But before we get to those name suggestions, let me introduce everyone. So once again, this is Gamer. This is our friend. She's been hanging out with us for a very long time, since like the beginning of Clip Kids almost, right? She's just been behind the scenes. And then in the middle we have Visibly, and then me, myself, Tay from Canada. And then behind the camera we have Pop Shooter.
Hey.
Pop on VR. He's an invisible avatar. He's kind
Can't
of just
see me.
see. I'm the live stream, and he's going to be recording it and possibly editing it. Possibly, I say possibly because you never know. We could just completely fucking throw this project out the window tomorrow. Before we
Okay,
continue,
that's-
I just want to say that there are a lot of people in chat, like joining. Maybe people are saying stuff as well. I won't be focusing on chat as much, just because we're trying to get like the whole podcast setting down. So we won't be looking at chat. We might do a Q&A, right? Maybe at some point. But this is like we have a live stream plus like an official recording, and if we just start focusing on chat and the official recording, it kind of just like throws everything off. You know what I mean?
I unplugged my headset really quick.
Oh.
You guys are ruining my chips.
Oh my God, this guy.
Okay, Gamer, would you like to introduce the names? The names.
The names.
Oh shit.
There's only like 2 names that we really have. Oh, I just sat.
Gamer, get your head in the game.
There's
Okay.
only like 2 names we actually have. Is the sleepover and the no name. So those are like the 2 names we're fighting.
Oh my god. All right. You know what?
Ladies and
Anyways,
gentlemen, we're
guys,
switching cameras back to.
So,
Back to us.
the name, you know,
Dude, somebody-
Visibly and Friends is
Dude,
always a
somebody
good
in chat
option.
literally said Gamer is so fucking checked out.
Visibly Rant
Gamer,
Podcast.
get your head in the game. What's going on?
Gamer, can I switch the POV back to you? You look disgusting. Can you fix yourself? So my suggestion for this podcast name was going to be After Hours, no such thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah?
No. No. That was horrible.
God.
All right, Gamer, would you like to give your suggestion?
My idea was sleepover, but instead of like over, it's OVR at the end.
Sleep OVR. Because usually when we
Yeah.
do these types of things, whenever we record or just hang out in general, it's literally after midnight EST. People always ask us, oh, when are you guys getting on? Right? When can I hang out with you guys? When can I meet you guys? And then we literally, genuinely don't have a set time. We just get on whenever, like I usually have school and stuff. People have like, Pop has like a IRL job, sort of, kind of, maybe. And so like, whenever like we actually are all on, it's usually after midnight, whenever we can just chill out.
We have a group chat, and it's a hey, who's getting on? Hey, what are you guys doing? What are we doing tonight?
Half the
So
time it's not
very
even that. Half the
spontaneous.
time I have to find out that these motherfuckers got on without me.
Yeah, we like
And
to
then
ditch Tay.
And then it becomes this whole salty spiel.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow, we're really telling them all the secrets, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
bro.
I have a topic of discussion we can talk about. Our first ever experience in detail of doing a podcast.
I
But
thought
you
you were
know,
gonna say something else.
Oh, what did you?
well, what do you think I was gonna say?
I don't know, but he said
Yeah,
real
it was-
dark,
Yeah,
like
it was kind
real
of going a weird way for
into
me too.
something, and I thought he was gonna say something else, so I slow turned. I was like,
We're gonna talk about
It's like, I don't-
this one night.
Yeah,
Alright,
bro,
alright,
listen,
alright.
bro. My FPT heaven stories are for FPT.
We could also introduce like the ideas of what we have in the future, of how we're gonna talk more about like how we met and more stuff about us and what people want to
Yeah.
know, but also
Yeah.
interviewing like hopefully other people in the future, big creators that people like to buy their avatars, assets, or just content creation, and interviewing them more into detail about like how they got into it, how they got into VR chat, and so on. We also probably will be setting up a like confession or story time. So like you guys can submit your own stories and confessions, and sometimes we'll read them off and just react to them or give in our input on them and what we think about them.
Visibly, would you like to say anything?
Let me eat my chips, bro.
Oh, shit, my bad, sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. How could I
What
even
chips
think
are you
that he
eating?
would want to contribute to this
I'm
podcast?
eating. You guys. This podcast is sponsored by Doritos Sweet Spicy Chili. Fuck, I'm joking. Oh,
Oh my god!
I'm gonna die.
I can't breathe. This man just
I'm gonna die.
All right. So, like Gamer said, we might start doing. If this becomes a project that we do like quite often, then we might start doing confessions where you guys can literally,
Your camera's on me.
yeah. Oh shit! The official recording of the podcast will be much cleaner because we have Pop dedicated behind the scenes, swapping
you guys
between
can't
his
see me.
screen.
Ooh.
You guys can see him. You literally can't see him. If you walked on frame, here. You know what, Pop? Walk on frame. Walk right here.
Hey.
He's a pair of floating glasses.
Hey,
He's
can
been
you
a
guys
pair of
see
floating
me?
glasses this entire time.
How you guys
Oh
doing?
my
All right.
goodness.
I'm gonna head back to my spot.
So yes, if this becomes a project we do quite often, then we might start taking confessions or like just like things that people would like to say or like just to read out. Like we can even give a topic and then they could like submit it through either a Discord or like a Google form or whatever, and we'll look through them
I'll
and
be
we'll read
saying
them.
stuff.
You know what I mean? Even they could even be suggestions for things you want us to talk about. You know what I mean? I mean, I have people in chat right now giving me suggestions of what they would like to hear us talk about right now.
Yeah, I'll be setting up like Google Forms and shit for people to put out or just, you know.
For those of you wondering where Sentry is, right? He's here in the world. He's actually over there.
He's over there.
But he's I don't know. He just
He's
this
gone.
one. He's gone.
Cranky.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's cranky tonight.
He's in a cranky mood right now. Before we started this podcast, we were trying to figure out what even we were gonna do. And like, and I said, okay. Before okay, how do I explain this? Okay, I said that Sentry and Visibly don't even know to speak to a camera. Their only bit is screeching and throwing
Which
themselves
is
in a fucking wall.
why I have a personality. It's called
I
dancing.
said that's their only personality, and Sentry said, "Yep, you're right. That's it. I'm not doing this." So
then he ended up on the floor.
He's over there on the
Yeah,
floor.
and he was a pink bird.
That's mostly, I
Um,
think we have a plan.
We could talk about why I said that. You want to talk about why I said that?
Yeah,
No,
why did you
no,
say that?
No,
because
no,
we
no,
argue
no, no,
and
no,
I'm
no.
not
Back
like
to
our-
the
actually,
first topic.
Yeah, let's get
Take us
some
to
First
the
topic.
The first topic is our first podcast.
is
Oh,
you
first
know,
topic.
probably how you got into VR chat. You know the.
I feel like we could do that, but I want
I
to
want to get into
All
the
right,
deep
all right.
shit,
I want to talk about this
man.
first
Shit,
podcast
we're-
experience because
diving in.
this first podcast experience is like the reason why we're doing what we're doing right now.
That's true.
Right?
All right,
Okay,
the
all right,
deep
that's-
shit.
that's
How
very
big is
true.
it?
Good point.
Before we continue though, Cupid, can you come here? Listen, Cupid's not gonna speak, but this is her assistant from behind the scenes. I don't know. She doesn't really do anything, but I just think it's kind of cool to have an assistant. And I see all these podcasts, they have assistants. So this is our dedicated assistant, but she doesn't really do anything. Anyways, yeah, get the fuck out. Get out of here.
She's just here for the experience, man. Yeah, get out.
You can leave.
Get out.
Go back to where you're sitting.
That's
All
our
right.
other Canadian.
How did we end up here in this exact moment?
Oh.
Not how did the Clip Kids end up here, but like how did we specifically in this exact situation end up in these couches
Into a
talking-
podcast. Oh.
into a podcast scenario, right?
Wow.
Well, it all started with our friend Colors. If you guys, some of you guys might know him, some of you guys might not know him. He used to, emphasis on used to, own a podcast called The Instance, and it was a very short-lived podcast for some serious reasons. But Colors is a good guy, right? He invited us onto his podcast because he did, he did what we're doing right now, where his first episode was just him and like his crew, and then next episode he invited like creators and like it eventually came to us as he wanted us on the podcast. But what he wanted to do was he wanted to do it 2 by 2. So he didn't want all 4 of us on at once because it would kind of get overwhelming. So he invited me and Pop on one episode and then Sentry and Visibly on another episode. Now Pop is a piece of fucking shit, right? Let me tell you, Pop is a piece of shit. Because you guys don't know, everybody thinks Pop is like such an innocent guy because of how he portrays himself on camera. You know, you need to understand that when it comes to video games and online personas, people only show you what they want you to see. Pop is a real piece of shit. Especially since he's the one editing his own videos, you're going to only see what he wants you to see, right?
Oh,
but anyways,
mastermind.
regardless, Pop decided that he doesn't want to do the podcast because why the fuck would he put effort into anything other than his own TikTok?
Felt that.
So he said, quote unquote, I don't want to.
This is true. This is very factual, everyone. I just want to throw that out there.
So what I mean by I think he's a piece of shit is because Pop will genuinely not care about literally anything else other than the homies. He genuinely doesn't care if his TikTok gets banned tomorrow because the whole time he's been doing it for the homies. So when it comes to outreaching his brand, he does not give two shits. So when it comes to people like asking us to collaborate and getting our name out there, he says, why?
No.
So we have this opportunity to get our name out there with other bigger not bigger, but like just big collaborators who like are trying to do bigger projects. And Pop just says, nah, I just want to get online and like, you know, chill with the homies and record you
Or
guys
he
shit,
says,
which is fine.
He says, who else is doing it? Ask the other guys if they're gonna do it.
Yeah, okay, he does that shit a lot too. Whenever people hit us up for like collabs and stuff, they'll usually hit up Pop because he seems like the most approachable one because, you know, Sentry kind of just aggressively throws himself all over his room, visibly screeches, and I'm really angry all the time. I'm not actually angry. That's just what I guess that's what
his
people
persona.
like,
that's his persona.
that's what people see in me is just anger. So Pop seems like the most approachable one. He's actually the least approachable one. If you ask Pop for anything, I promise you, he will deflect it to one of us. I promise you.
This is.
And then we'll deflect it to another one.
Wait a minute. This is like episode 1 exposing Pop. Okay, listen. I don't know about this party. Yo,
Oh my god.
yo, cut. This ain't it. This is not it. Alright, sorry, continue.
Well, he asked all of us on his own, each individual person, and he forced us to give each of us an individual answer. I was like, yeah, I'm down. Visibly is usually down to collab, and so is Sentry if he's like in the mood. Pop is always the one that needs convincing, and he was in the mood like he always is to say no, just because. No actual reason, just because he wanted to. So he said no, and then I was able to fucking convince it by saying that this is something I actually want to do, and it would be fun. Let's just see it. Let's see how it works out. So Pop said, who's going? And I said, well, first episode is going to be me and you, and then second episode is going to be Sentry and Visibly. He said, okay, I'll do it if you want to do it, but just know I don't want to be there. He said, I'll go because you want to go, but I just know the whole time I don't want to be there, right? And then I said, okay, it'll be fun. We get in call with Colors. It's like, hey, we're ready to do our episode right now. You want to do it? And then the moment we get in call with Colors, Pop says, wait, what if you take all 4 of us at the same time? And Colors says, that wasn't really our plan. My entire crew was prepared for 2 at a time. But you know what? Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Yeah,
Fuck
Pop's
it.
it
all
wasn't
right.
our fault the whole time. It was Color's fault for
All
accepting
right.
it.
And the podcast doesn't even start till like an hour later because the entire time Sentry is arguing with Colors on the couch seating because Colors was sitting in the middle like it visibly is, but Sentry wanted to be in the middle, and there was not enough space for all 4 of us. See, this entire thing was Pop's idea to have all 4 of us on the same time. He already has a crew of like 3 hosts, so there's 3 hosts, and then there's 4 of us, and there's only 2 couches. So Sentry is arguing with Colors on where he wants to sit, and he keeps telling Colors to move away because he's claustrophobic. And Colors is like, no, I'm literally the host. I can't like not be on the couch. And then finally the podcast starts after like some tedious fucking lessons because before we had to use Audacity to all record our own audios at the same time. And then he needed us to like go 3, 2, 1, clap so that he can get everything in sync. And that 3, 2, 1 clap literally took 30 minutes because this idiot and the idiot back there couldn't get in sync. They just didn't know how to
a new
3, 2, 1
mic.
and then clap.
I was on a new mic and my shit wasn't working. I didn't know what to download. I didn't know what to press. All you guys were screaming in my ear, Visibly, dude. I'm like, fuck you.
He was actually genuinely eating chips. He was eating
Yes, I
chips.
was.
Oh,
Just
you know
like
what?
how I am right now.
I missed
Why is
a
every time you're
detail.
on a
I missed a
podcast,
detail.
you're eating chips?
This is a very important detail. the detail is that while we're doing the podcast, we were all using Audacity. Nobody was in call. Once we got in the world, we all left the call. But me, Sentry, and Visibly decided to go back in the call so we could talk shit about Colors and Pop behind the back while the podcast was going on. So the whole time,
I was
the
playing
whole time,
music and it's
he's playing music and he's fucking eating his chips. And while we're trying to get 3, 2, 1, go together, right? Like 3, 2, 1, go. He's like screeching in the mic, like how he just can't fathom how you're supposed to do this. He's just so confused as you're supposed to count to 3, 2, 1 in the clap, but he was just crying the entire time because he couldn't figure it out.
Let me show them what Colors had to hear.
Oh my god.
That's all they heard.
So then finally the podcast starts, right? The podcast starts, and then he actually has like a list of topics. Like right now we're doing this thing, we have no list of topics. We're kind of just talking out of our ass. But he actually had like a list of things he wanted to go through. When it gets to my turn, see how I'm talking a lot? It's because I watch a lot of podcasts, and I kind of always want to do something like this. And I guess I'd like to say, without tooting my own horn, that like I maybe possibly have more of an understanding of what a podcast is, as opposed to Visibly and Sentry. So while I'm talking, Visibly and Sentry kind of just lie there like this, like what the fuck, he's just talking too much. And then the other host, they literally asked me a question, and I'm giving them a detailed answer about my life. And then the other host literally speaks up and says, "This is gonna put me to sleep, Tay. You talk too much."
Yes, because you do talk too much.
I was like,
bro,
how-
we were just background characters.
how can you say that? How can you say that you talk too much in a fucking podcast? What is a podcast for? What is a podcast?
Talking.
So because Visibly and Sentry get bored, they start hitting the host. They start hitting him and like
Oh my
fighting
God.
literally during the middle of this fucking podcast. They start.
You
Well,
fought
to be fair, I was too, but I wasn't doing
Yeah,
as much as they
exactly.
started with them. They came at me, so I had to show them what's up. But like basically, we start like arguing over the host. Start throwing hands over the host. The host gets up. And then they fucking hit him. He falls behind the couch, and then they start dancing on him. And the whole time, the crew is just like, "What the fuck is going on?" And they look at Pop, who's sitting there, and they're like, "Pop, this is what you deal with all the time." And then it just devolves into pure chaos. For the rest of the podcast, it's just pure chaos. It doesn't go anywhere. It's actually the funniest episode you genuinely could see in a podcast, in my opinion. It was really funny. But the thing is, the fucking person editing the videos looked at it. He said, "I don't know what to do with this," and he threw it out the window. If you actually took the time to edit that podcast, it would have been fucking hilarious. But because they weren't used to our energy and they didn't know what to do with all the fucking chaos everywhere, he just decided that he doesn't want to do this, and so he just fucking deleted the podcast.
They could have gave us the fucking video, and then we could have posted it.
Plus, little did anybody know. We found this out after he told us he's not going to use it. We found out that Pop didn't record his audio.
Okay, I thought I had it recording. Okay, I was talking and I saw the little waves going. I was like, okay, I'm good. And then I listened to it, and it was my other microphone on my computer.
Bro, dude, didn't Colors say like if you want to listen to that podcast, you have to go to his Patreon or something like that? That's what I heard.
It was behind a paywall. There was clips behind a paywall.
But
And
at the
now
end of
we're
the day, you'll
here.
never see any of that footage because they deleted the entire podcast. The
it's
shit
gone.
doesn't exist anymore. Now you just have the stories.
We tried.
And now we're just here.
So now we're here because Gamer had the idea to do another podcast, and I've always wanted to do a podcast, right? So I like this idea, and Gamer had a good idea for the name and everything. And
Yeah, I
the
had
world
everything set up.
the world we're
months
using
ago.
is the Studio 11 world in VR chat, and I think this world is actually for sale.
We'll have a little corner for Visibly Rants, for
Okay.
special episodes of Visibly just ranting.
So
Huh? Bro, let me
moving
watch it.
forward, we could talk about our lives,
Oh
right?
my god.
I'm not gonna ask Visibly anything because he just wants to eat his chips, and that's it. So Gamer,
If you ask
How
me something,
about-
I'm gonna say something dumb.
listen, Gamer, you have been quiet this entire time. How did we come into your lives? What was like the first moment you saw one of our stupid faces on VR? Well, like, not even on
When
VR.
I
maybe-
got sold on stage on an FBT as an e-boy.
Was I there for that? No.
No, you weren't there. It
Run
was
us through that night.
Hey and Pop.
Run us.
I was
Run us.
with,
Re-jog my memory.
I was with two of our old friends, Lexi and Lufu, and just a bunch of us were getting sold on stage as e-boys. And then I got into a bidding war with Tay.
Tay, we did that?
I think I do remember this slightly, ever so slightly.
I
do
remember it
this.
because it was so fucking dumb. Then after that, I like hung out like once in a while, and then we went to, I think where I met Sentry and Visibly was at a like battle royale map, and
Really?
they started accusing me of being Lufu, and I got scared.
Oh.
I don't remember this.
God, I remember.
I don't remember how I.
I remember that battle royale map. Yes, that is true. We
That was
thought-
when
Luffy
Tragic
was
was
on
on the
Octocom.
top of the thing, right?
yes.
When he was. Oh, that one. No, I've known her before that.
Well, why did you stick around?
Because all the people
the clout.
I
No.
was hanging out with at that time and shit only sat around and like mirror dwelled. They hated me because my friend groups, we would go somewhere, hang out, and talk at a mirror, and I couldn't just sit there, so I would disappear for the whole night doing shit. And then I met you guys, and you actually did shit, so I hung around with that because I hate sitting around at a mirror a lot. I can't do that anymore. But I think that's like one of the reasons because you guys were actually doing shit and more active.
Yo, someone just said in my chat they have a tornado warning.
Tornado warning. Yeah, you got it.
Why are you?
Watch the stream under a table. Oh, I sat. I apologize,
What?
bro.
I'm watching Century make a tree
Yeah,
behind
Sentry's
us.
just drawing in the back.
Senchi's
He's,
drawing
like,
behind the
he's
camera.
over there just drawing behind the camera. He just drew a
That's
giant tree.
Oh my gosh.
Do you
That
see
is
that
the
tree?
biggest tree. He's waving.
He-
Hey.
Gamer, out of all the boys, who did you get to know first?
Century was probably one of the people that I got to know first. And then after that, I think it was Pop or Viz.
I think I only got to know
Then
you.
you.
I only got to know you because there was this other
Look at that
person.
thing.
What was her name? It was you, right? No, it was not you. You knew Mars. You knew Mars and the other person, and like that's how I
Gamer
was
space.
introduced to you. Gamer. You know, me and Pop met Mars IRL.
Yeah, I know.
Mars-
EDC Orlando.
Yeah, Mars Cat. She rebranded. Me and her have each other blocked on everything.
Okay.
Alright,
Well, moving on.
alright.
Now let's get into the drama. No.
No, me and Pop met her IRL because she came to EDC.
Which was fire, by the way. EDC Orlando
was-
last year
Yeah,
was awesome.
last year. We met.
I
Who did we
was-
meet? We met Mars and we met
was meeting them.
Belkuro.
Oh yeah, Belkuro.
Among
I
everyone
was,
else.
supposed to,
That was-
I was supposed to go to
met.
Universal Studios with him, but he didn't have a car, so we left him.
So we left him.
abandoned him.
You know, he
He's
came to
gone.
EDC with his parents.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
it
How'd
was
you come here?
awesome.
He's like, oh, I came with my parents.
I do that with my parents.
You know, a lot of people actually do that.
Oh,
they go to
my
festivals and
parents-
show.
with their
I would do
parents.
that
You
with
wanna
my
leave
parents.
that
My
alone.
parents
Down with
are.
parents.
My parents love parties. I love my parents.
Someone asked, "Where's Pop from?" Oh, this is my favorite topic.
Where are you from, Pop?
Go ahead, Tay. Tell the viewers where I'm from.
He's not-
If I start speaking about it, I'm gonna
I was
get
born.
canceled.
Listen. I'll
Me
tell
and
him.
him are
I'll
gonna
tell
say
him.
the same thing.
I am from California.
Yeah. Where are you really from?
I am from California. Born and raised in California.
Where are you
okay?
really from?
I am from California.
really from?
I'm
I'll show
American.
you. Dude, if I start speaking on this matter, I'll get real racist. I
Aren't we
swear
all-
to
Yeah,
God.
no, because I was gonna. Me and you are probably gonna say the same thing.
Oh my god.
Oh, yo, Jiba.
Feel
You
like
talking about how we got into VR chat or how we got? videos?
into making videos.
Okay, we can do the VR chat first. Like, just go down the row. But my
Well,
story's
then why
kinda
would you
like
ask her?
You just gave my input like we should
No, I'm
do
just
this
fucking-
first
I'm
and
just
then
thinking out
that.
loud. Okay, we'll go down the list. We'll start with Gamer. Gamer, what got you into VR chat?
COVID.
Motherfucker.
Visibly, what got you into VR chat?
I got my Oculus Rift, and I was like, "Yeah, this is nice." And then I found VR chat. The first game I played was like Murder 2.
Really?
That's how I got into it. Yeah.
I have like a detailed story if I got into VR chat, but it's basically it's just chalked up to COVID. I mean, like,
No,
I thought we were
want
gonna
to
go
know
into
the
detail.
details. Yeah, I want to know like
Oh, well,
how
then,
like.
okay, then we'll go back to
I wanna-
Gamer. Gamer,
All right,
give me the
hit the
details.
restart. Pretend. You know, okay.
Um.
Oh, we're giving out details.
Details. I want to know like.
Okay. Well,
everything.
I love talking to people because I grew up in the city and COVID happened. So I got bored and wanted to talk to big groups of people. And I started at Rec Room because I didn't have a quest or anything.
All right, moving on. I don't
Rec
want
room.
to hear it.
So
No, you wanna-
yeah, you said Rec Room. So what?
Visibly
So
next.
VR chat wasn't a popular thing back then, and I got told about it because I got a Rift, like just a regular Oculus Rift, and I downloaded it. I started playing like the presentation room, the Great Pug, and all that, and I made a bunch of friends, and this is where I am now. That's how I got into it.
Second year university, right? When I got a fucking, oh my god, I still own it, but I just don't even want to look at it. I got a fucking Windows mixed reality headset. Those things,
Oh.
the worst, Lord.
is so
I'd rather
gross.
have a fucking one of those cardboard boxes you slot your phone into. But
Oh,
like
yeah,
basically, I had a Windows mixed reality headset, and it's inside out tracking. First of all, I know Quest is also inside out tracking, but I think inside out tracking is dog shit. But I think Quest does it really well. I just think inside out tracking is the worst thing you can do because the moment you put your hands behind your head, you can't track anymore. And the way that the Quest does it, I think, is they have code or algorithms that kind of like estimate from the trajectory of where you last move your hands. It'll like calculate where they could be. So they won't like kind of completely lose them, right? But Windows Mixed Reality has that too, just a shittier version, right? So I couldn't do anything. I bought my Windows Mixed Reality to play shooter games with my friend, and I realized I couldn't do anything. I couldn't like put my gun up to my face because this right controller closer to my eye would just lose tracking, right? And then my gun would just like go sideways, and it wouldn't work. So I couldn't play shooter games, but I used it to play VR chat one night. This is my first ever experience with VR chat, so this was like before I actually started playing like more often, like religiously, right? I played it for like I played like a year before I actually got into it. Like I played it like once. I played it one night on my Windows Mixed Reality headset. I got bullied by some skeleton, and I just never fucking played it again. Right? I like joined, and then like, I thought it was a cool concept. Like you could play games, talk to people around the world, blah blah blah. And I was hanging out with like these two guys, right? Just like I just was really bored, so I was just following them around. And then like I guess one of them thought I was annoying because he fucking dropped the portal. He said, "Hey, go through here." So me not knowing anything about VR chat, walk through the portal, a fucking world where it's just like one giant face looking at you. That's it. That's all it was. I was like,
trolled.
I got trolled. I just never
Yo,
know.
the fact that he remembers it is crazy too.
So
bro.
I just like Alt F4 never played again because I hated my Windows Mixed Reality headset. I got an Index, and the reason I got an Index is because my friend who got me into VR got an Index. He didn't get me into VR. I got him into VR with my Windows Mixed Reality. He got an Index. I introduced him to VR. He bought an Index. This was right before COVID, I think, or like beginning of COVID. He got impatient because all the indexes got sold out, and you had to wait literally months for your index to come in, right? And so he was waiting. It wasn't coming. So he bought a used one. Like a month or a week later, his index came in. So he had two indexes. And so he was going through the process of refunding the index he bought from Steam through Steam RMA. And while he was doing that, he said, you can borrow it. So he let me borrow his headset for a week, his index. And then I used it. I played shooters with him. I was like, damn, this is like the experience I was missing. Because like I could actually track with the external base stations. And I was actually having a blast.
Cool.
I was like, this is what VR is supposed to be, not my dog shit headset that I had from fucking Windows. But then I was like, okay, I want an index. So I bought one. When an index came, my friend wasn't playing VR anymore. He kind of just like fell off. And so then I just like didn't have anyone to really play VR with, because back then like no one really had a VR headset, or no one that I knew had a VR headset. And so I got into VR chat because at the same time COVID happened and I couldn't go outside. And I'm a very like extroverted person. So I couldn't go outside. My first day of VR chat, I hung out with like this huge group of people, and we just played games and shit. It was a blast. I met somebody who had full body. I ordered full body second day. And so when I came back from vacation, second day of VR chat, I had full body because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, right? And then who thought I was a genius, I'm going to be the first person ever to dance in VR chat. I'm going to figure out how to play music through my mic, and I'm going to go into random midnight rooftops and black hats and just play music, and I'll be the coolest guy ever because nobody does this shit. Little did I know that everybody who has full body does this shit. Right? But that's where I got into VR. I just kind of like started hopping worlds, playing music, starting dance parties in like random worlds, and then meeting like a group of people. I met a group of people that wasn't anything. I have contact with them. I still hang with them sometimes, but like they have nothing to do with Clip Kids or like Yetis or anything. They're like my first ever VR chat friend group.
My full body disconnected.
Yeah, I could tell. I was noticing.
It's disconnected. It won't turn back on, but everything's charged.
I am reading the chat as people are saying things, and they're saying some interesting things. Like,
What?
it's a weird thought that I live with someone I met in Black Hat lobby.
What?
I met my boyfriend in VR chat, and now we live together.
Yeah, dude, me, Tay, Pop, and Sentry, we all live together,
Yeah,
bro. We all met-
I can
would
go over to
hate to
Sentry's
see
room right
that.
now. I can kick
We
his
actually have
door down.
sex.
What?
What?
Huh?
What?
That's
What?
another very interesting topic that we could go over for maybe another episode.
ERP. Oh.
Yeah, maybe
No,
another
no,
episode.
no,
Us
not
having
that,
sex.
not that. No, not us having
Oh.
sex, but more of the dating scene.
Why does Visibly just look so cool no matter what he's doing? See, the thing is, he might look cool on the outside, but he's completely fucking downright. I was gonna say
Also,
something out of pocket.
why are you on my dick?
He does look pretty cool posted up like that. Tay, like your legs are going through the floor. It doesn't look as cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
bro.
I don't want to sit like this.
No,
'cause
I'm
it's just
him.
like-
I mean,
See, now you look cool.
yeah,
now
but
you
you
look
don't
cool.
look as cool, you know,
Yeah, you don't look as cool.
because
as
like
me.
you're still
It's
kind of in the bag. He's really
the-
perfected
the
where
bucket
he
hat.
is in the spot.
It's the bucket
Like that's
hat. I'm
his.
telling you.
Oh
You guys want to see what it looks like without the bucket hat?
no, no, no,
See,
no, 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 no,
no.
no, no,
Oh
no.
my god!
Nobody wants to see
Put
that.
the shit back on. Put the shit back
All
on.
right, so a
please.
little update, just since we're chilling right now, little update on Sentry's tree. He's brought in a assistant, and they are currently coloring in the tree.
Tree.
It has a
And
little heart in it.
There's a little guy in the middle. There's
Where?
a little guy.
Where is
yeah,
that little
like
guy in the middle?
the tree trunk.
And the little guy.
Oh
Little
my
guy in the
goodness!
I mean, I could talk more about how I met Pop, but I feel like I'm just
Oh,
talking a
God.
lot.
We can do
and
that
I'm
for
getting
an
really-
episode 2.
I'm getting really
episode
insecure.
2.
Because, oh yeah, we could
Good,
just do
be
me and
insecure.
you.
Yeah,
You
So,
talk so
okay.
much.
because that's actually a pretty long journey.
The story behind how we met Sentry is actually quite interesting.
It is
Visibly, on the
very.
other hand-
It's a good story.
Visibly, on the other hand, is I mean, we kind of just
I
we kind of
attack
just
him.
fall. Okay, let me just tell you the Visibly story because it's like 2 seconds. We basically saw him. He was a good dancer in FPT. Pop at the time was very into recording FPT dancers, and so he thought Visibly was a really cool person, a really unattainable person. And see, Visibly himself thinks he's a very cool and unattainable person,
Like, yeah.
right? So he egoed us. He egoed us, and Pop
I
chased
didn't
him down.
ego you guys,
He-
bro.
he-
You,
he
you know how
100%
scary,
egoed us.
you know
He
how scary
100%
it is to get chased by someone with a fucking camera?
He-
Let me record you! Let me record
He
you!
egoed us,
2
and then-
days!
And then what happened was Pop managed to fucking convince him to let him record him dancing, and so he did. Pop
I'm gonna
posted it on his
crash.
TikTok at the time, got 1 million viewers. Visibly's fucking ego exploded. He's like, "Oh shit, people like seeing me dance." So then he started chasing Pop around. That's what happened.
No, no, you're
No.
lying. No, stop lying on my name. No, see, what happened is that Pop followed. I was with my homie. I was with Diablo, right? I think that was her name. And then Diablo was like, Pop, this Visibly guy is a really good dancer, which I wasn't at the time. I was ass. I was like, yeah, you could record me next time or something like that.
Where the fuck
So-
is Gamer?
I
So
crashed.
gamer crashed. So then
Gamer.
I said gamer. So we were gonna record next time we see each other. The next day, I'm with my homie Lost Kronos, and Pop chases me and Kronos because Kronos is another dancer, and so we pretended like we didn't know English. So
This is
we
true.
I started, saying stuff in Spanish, and then that's how I met Tay, because Tay walked in.
We actually have that
and-
moment clipped exactly. That
Yeah,
exact
I have
moment.
it clipped on my friend's YouTube channel. It's clipped, and then Pop recorded me and my friend dance, and ever since then, me and Pop have been texting each other, and then he would like invite me, and then the first video I was ever in that wasn't a dance video was the drag race video.
How we met Sentry. How did it start? Okay, so this you'll find this out in the episode that like me and Pop talk about our story. But basically, long story short, Pop started recording TikToks way before VR chat, right? You like did Valorant and Call of Duty ones.
Any gaming, any games
Yeah.
that I was having
So
fun
he
on,
could've-
I was recording.
He kind of already had a little bit of a following, and then he made a VR chat one, and like that got a little bit of a following. A lot of it was dumb shit that I was doing because he just used me as
I
like
used Tay
content.
for content.
Yeah, before he used
That's how I
Sentry Visible
felt,
for
really.
content. He kind of
Yeah,
used me
what?
for content. And so like people knew who he was already and they knew me by extension. I didn't have a TikTok, but like I was in his TikToks.
He was.
And there was a third member. His name is Nesty. And there was the 3 of us going around VR chat a lot of the
Mhm.
time just doing dumb shit. And like Pop would just record it and then like post it on his TikTok. And so then we met, I think Gamer, when she was telling her story of how we met her, she mentioned Lexi and Lufu. So we actually met Lexi and Lufu before we met Gamer. And that's how we met Gamer, through them. But when we met them, we hung out with them a lot too.
Mhm.
Right? So it was like me, Nessie, Pop, and then Lexi and Lufu. I'm trying to remember this story. I'm telling this really slow because I'm trying to remember it. But like Lexi was like, or Lufu was not available. Like she had like some shit to do in the morning. So she couldn't get on VR. So it was just the 4 of us. And we decided to watch a movie, but I had school to do. So I was like, okay, you guys get on. You guys watch your movie. I get on, I join the movie world, and I see Nesty and Pop at the front of the movie theater, like lying down like this, looking depressed as fuck. And I see Lexi in the back of the theater with some dude, right? And they're like
Oh my
cuddling. And then I look at Nessie and I look at the screen and they're watching like the first ever Dragon Ball movie. And I was like, what the fuck are we watching? And what are you guys doing? Why do you guys look so depressed? And Nessie speaks up and says, Lexi brought a cuddle buddy to the movie and she didn't tell us, and I'm really mad. I said, okay, do you want to go find a cuddle buddy? And he said, yeah, let's do it. I said, okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes. Lexi, stay right here. We're going to go to FPT and find cuddle buddies. I said this as a joke. I didn't actually think it was gonna work. We went to FPT. So within 5 minutes, I shit you not, the three of us genuinely had cuddle buddies. Like people agreed to hang out with us, right? And so we come back. My cuddle buddy was a mute. I had a mute cuddle buddy who ended up leaving like 5 minutes in the
It
movie.
was
So I was
so
alone.
sad. It was so
But like,
sad.
Pop had a cuddle buddy, and then Nessie had a cuddle buddy. Pop's cuddle buddy was this girl named Izzy Bell, right?
Yep.
And because my cuddle buddy left 5 minutes in the movie, Izzy Bell and Sentry are really good friends. So Sentry ended up requesting off of her, and then because I didn't have a cuddle buddy, Sentry was my cuddle buddy, and that's how we met Sentry.
In episode 2, or whenever mine and Tay's episode comes out, we'll go into more detail on how this journey was.
Oh,
'Cause
guys,
it is
Sentry's here.
crazy.
There he is. He's giving a
Sentry's
thumbs
here.
up.
Are we gonna talk about the fact that during the phase that everyone was asking about my old avatar, Sentry was the first person to ever ask about it on
Hey,
Instagram?
tell the story. Let's go.
Okay. So on my
Sit down.
my old avatar, right before this one, it's like Tay's most viewed video, and everything in the comments was red and white bucket hat avatar. Where do I find whose
my
avatar is the
God.
red and
Oh
white
my-
bucket
I'm
hat? And he
fucking
was
blow
getting
my
so
my
mad
brains out.
about it. He
No,
was
I
like,
wasn't getting no. I wasn't getting mad about it. Let me rephrase this. I was not getting mad that people were praising Visibly. I was not. Okay, you know, if you like what he was doing or like his avatar, or you know what I mean, like voice that. You know what I mean? He's getting like recognition. I was pissed off because he was under the impression that he made the entire video. He was under the impression that because he was in it, the video got as many views as it did.
Oh my god.
And he carried everything. That was
I did
and
carry
he kept,
it.
vo-
I
and he
did
kept
carry
voicing that to us. He kept saying, "You'd be nothing without me," or "Your only video has that many views because I made it." Look at all the comments, they're all praising my fucking avatar.
I called him the cameraman or some shit like that. He got
He
fucking
said,
mad.
"He said you're nothing. You're just the cameraman." That's what he said to me. And that's
He
what
got so mad.
That's what hurt me.
But yeah, everyone was kept asking about my avatar. 'Cause, you know, they're like, "Where's his avatar from? Is there a world for it?" Yada yada. And apparently, like a month or like a few weeks, I met Sentry in advance, and like none of us knew each other. And what the fuck is Sentry doing? Okay.
We're not gonna show him. We're not gonna show.
No, don't show him that.
He's doing
He-
some
he
out-of-pocket
get
shit
Oh
banned.
right
my
now.
god.
Okay.
Oh my
So
god. He's going in right now.
okay, so Sentry texted me about my avatar on his IRL Instagram, and we didn't know who he was.
He's going at it right
before
now.
this. He's fucking Slenderman.
Okay, yeah, Sentry is curly. He drew a giant Slenderman, and now he's fucking the Slenderman. Like, he was sucking it off, and now he's getting it from the back.
He's switching positions. It's mesmerizing.
What?
It's actually scary.
Oh yeah, Sentry was like, yeah, I used to think Visibly had the coolest avatars until I met him, and now he's just a dick or some shit like that. Now I just fucking hate his avatars or some shit. Yeah, bro, Sentry
That's
used to be my
amazing.
#1 fanboy until we met up, and now
Sentry was
we're
the number
gay
one.
lovers.
Oh.